In Memphis, we know a thing or two about resilience. From the grindhouse to the Delta, we protect what's ours. But when pests invade your home, it's time to fight back. Grade A Pest knows how to handle what crawls, flies, and bites. With local experience and guaranteed results.
I'm Reggie with Grade A Pest Control. We service the Memphis metro area. That also includes DeSoto and Fayette County as well.
Grade A Pest has the entire Mid-South covered. So if bugs and pests put you to the test, let Grade A solve your problem. In Memphis, nothing comes easy, and that's exactly how we like it. This is a city built on hustle, on heart, on grit. And at Carway, our rides are built the same way. Tough, reliable, ready for the grind. No games, no gimmicks, just Memphis-style service. Real, honest, and built on trust. Where grit meets grind, you meet your next ride. Carway, grit, grind, and pink beetles.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of On the Bluff. I'm your host, Christian Fowler. Joining me, as always, my co-host, Gabe Kuhn, our producer, Kenny Stubblefield. Boys, how we feeling?
I'm feeling froggy, man. I'm ready to leap.
Ooh.
I'm ready to kick it like FIFA. You know what I mean? For about an hour with our listeners.
I love it. Listen, I was feeling really good for a while until there's a new rule on the Bluff that we're instituting tonight.
Oh shit! Oh god! Oh no!
Gabe Kuhn is gonna have to start doing these live shows shirtless at this point.
And there we go.
He's gonna have to go topless from this point forward. I saw a picture. I got sent. Listen, we got fans everywhere, all over the city of Memphis. I got sent a picture today, and I want to show this picture. This is kind of freaking me out a little bit because there's one thing about Gabe. Me and Gabe have been rather rotund our entire adult lives. And we to the point where we get confused for each other. We get confused for each other. And I saw this picture of Gabe.
Oh shit.
Look at this dude. Like, what is
my
going
head,
on?
bro? What's problem is with my body getting smaller, my head just looks larger and larger. Just, God, man.
Where did your belly go?
It's
man,
gone.
you know, I've been in the gym, man. You wasn't with me shooting in the gym.
If you're watching and you're seeing this photo of me and Gabe from last week, I am not as short as
Dude, do I look like lengthy now that I've lost a few pounds?
Yes, me and Gabe, it had been like a year and a half since me and Gabe had seen each other in person, and I saw him what day was that? Wednesday? Thursday?
I'm wearing the same shirt, by the way.
Yeah.
Damn. I have a washer though. I did laundry.
Hey, when you start losing weight, you gotta like really narrow down what you wear.
Yeah, you can only wear so many things. But no, I see Gabe and I'm like, he had told us weeks ago he had been working out again and stuff, and I was like, dude, you look small. Like, you don't look like the same dude. Like even like his neck and stuff. I was walking behind him. I was looking at his neck, and I was like, dude, you're freaking good. You look good. You look good.
You,
he was like,
hey, pull up the picture though, real quick again.
he wants to,
real quick, because I have to point something out. I'm going to call myself out. Nips came out to play for sure.
Dude,
Nip came out.
Nips, they were especially nipply.
They were nipply.
Also, I'm gonna go on record. I'm 5'10". I'm not 5'6". Like that photo makes me appear.
Hold on. 5'10".
I swear.
5'10" my ass.
If I was trying to lie on my height, I would go to like the standard like 6. You know, I'm 6 foot. I'm not. I'm a strong 5'10". Gabe's losing weight and it's stretching him out. It's making him taller.
Yeah,
6'4" is a lie.
We do need to tell the people why we were there, man. We were trying to give the best advice we could to the new generation of journalism students over there at the University of Memphis. Yeah. It was a good time, man. We had the best and brightest over there, brother, about to graduate. Shout out to all
why they keep asking me to come back, I have no idea.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I am a regular schmegular dude, you know.
Well, you make sense.
But I am very flattered that they think that my advice is worth a damn, though.
Yeah,
I heard they still have 247 Sports on your tag.
They did. They did have 247 Sports on my tag.
Yeah,
which was funny.
That's years ago.
I had to explain that a few times. It's been like I think it's been 4 years now.
4 years, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was like October of 22, like when I fully left.
I mean, Christian probably got questions. How do you like 247 Sports? I don't work there.
It's been a long time, so I don't know. I can't really answer that anymore.
Yeah.
But yes.
Do you think Christian, do you think that with Gabe's loss of weight at this point, if we got into a stance, you think I could get some hands on him now? Do you think
I got the technique, brother. I still got the technique and the strength, bro. This morning I went to go bench, do some. Well, I don't do straight bar anymore. I do dumbbell. I was throwing up them 80s still, bro.
But I got that swing now though, and I got the. You let me get the foot and the. I could just kind of pick you up and move you out of the way now. Apparently,
well, the scary part
you have to show me, Kenny. You have to show me.
Like he might be lighter, but he's probably literally right now the strongest that he's been in the last 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, that's fair.
Something like that. No hate, just truth.
Yeah, you have to get in the gym and lift things to be strong.
Look, let's give Gabe some grace though. Like when you grind as hard as he did for whatever 10, 15 years, you need some time off.
Yes.
Yeah. And then he he has a kid. He's on the other side of 30 and he's like, you know what? I gotta get back in there. So
and I'll say this, children, that's what'll get you back in the gym.
Oh my God. Wait till Christian.
That shit'll get you back in the gym at a quickness.
The reason why is because you start to gain that sympathy weight with the wife as she's gaining the weight, and then you just realize, holy crap, I'm fat as hell, dude. I need to lose some weight. What the hell just happened?
Hey, and shout out to our man, number one fan, Trey Lastly.
Yes,
he says that I look fast at AF.
I thought it said fat at first. I was like, "Dear God!"
I mean, it's to each their own.
Yeah,
you can still do it. You can call me fat. It's cool. I've heard it all.
I've heard it all.
All right, boys. Well, let's jump into it. Tiger stuff tonight. We're going to focus mainly on basketball transfer portal. Which Gabe's.
Can I start with something before we hit the real transfer portal of current guys? Can we talk about a former guy?
Yes. Yeah.
I saw this today, and I about fell to my knees, man. Kenny, I need you to cue the music. I really need you to cue the music. Antoine Jones is still in college basketball, guys. Part of the 2018 recruiting class at the University of Memphis. He transferred, went to Creighton, then he went to Louisiana, then he went to UCF. Now he went to Bethune-Cookman last year or 2 years ago. Then he went to UNC Greensboro. He's now in the transfer portal seeking a waiver for a 9th year of college basketball. Turn the music up, brother. I mean, we need to. This is the washed anthem. Antoine Jones, man. I'm not even trying to hate, brother. It's
Yeah,
time
right.
to go, brother. I hear Enterprise has good, they have really good, benefits.
That's
Ro-
crazy.
They like
Roman's
older
about
athletes.
Roman's about to graduate from the University of Memphis Journalism School, and he was a freshman in high school when Jones played for
I
Memphis.
couldn't believe my eyes, man.
Dude, I was 20. I was a junior in college. I am 28
Guys,
years old.
I was still thinking I was going to play professional football.
Yeah.
Guys, I was about to turn
I
40.
think I was freshly when he committed. I was freshly removed from my cup of coffee with the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's how long ago this was.
Me and Kenny met each other, I think was it 2018?
18. Yeah.
Yeah.
Trey.
Trey's so dumb.
So dumb. All right. Well, Gabe, that's a good nugget there.
Okay,
Because
all
if
right.
you wouldn't
Now
have brought
let's
that
get
up,
into some real stuff, man.
I would have missed that. But let's jump into. We talked about some commitments last week. We got another commitment this past week in Jerry Ding from NC State by way of Florida State, by way of can't remember the first school that he played at because I'm not a pro. Somebody, anybody, nobody. Roman
Howard?
Hampton.
Howard.
Hampton?
Howard or Hampton?
Hampton, something like that.
Yeah, I think he was at
Hampton.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, he's a guy that's got a lot of upside. He's obviously been recruited by two good programs, good coaches in the last two transfer cycles. Hasn't necessarily panned out for him. Last year at NC State was a little odd. He played in 8 games. Then Will Wade kind of came out and said, we're going to redshirt. He had some injury issues, but also said that there was some off the court things going on. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. I have not found anywhere what that was. If it was a personal situation, if it was discipline, like I don't know what that was.
Right.
So as of right now, I'm trying not to read too much into that, because when I see that kind of stuff and I know the conversations that we've had about the type of players we want to see at Memphis, it gives me a little bit of pause, but I'm not going to judge because I don't know. If we had the full story, maybe we could have some more thoughts on it. But as for right now, I'm going to look at the player for the player. He's a good shooter. He's got good size, good length, can help out on the wing. I don't know if he's a big instant impact guy. I mean, some things would really have to change for him to be someone that we're super excited about next year. But I think he can be a depth piece. I like what they're doing as far as their size. You look at some of the other guys we'll talk about in a minute. They're really targeting these wing positions. We saw that with old Rehards.
Rahard's Vavers.
Good Lord.
Rahard Vavers. I said
That first name, if you say it wrong, can go.
Yeah.
Brother,
as it came out of my mouth, I was like, that was a little risque there.
You hit that H hard on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't he?
Anyways, we're going to move that right along because that was unintentional, I swear. But I like what they're doing with the length. And like I said, some other guys that we'll talk about that are visiting, have been on visits like that as well. But what do y'all feel about the latest addition? Does it move the needle much for you? How do you feel about it?
I think this is a nice level for him, right? He's coming down from high major at NC State, where Will Wade thought he was good enough to play for him, right? Obviously, it didn't work out, but you step down a level. He is 6'7", good length, good athleticism. He shot 37% from 3, not too long ago, 2 years ago at Florida State in the ACC. So I think that this is the first bench piece I've seen out of the transfer portal.
Yeah,
and we'll see how it plays. I think this is an upside swing for the most part from Penny Hardaway, Gabe Harris, and the rest of the staff. I think it makes sense. I'll say this, though. One thing I do love about their first 3 editions, and we'll get to positivity versus negativity and all the crash outs that have been happening in the past week. It's just mind-blowing to me. And it's kind of, unsettling because, Christian, you and I are always almost considered the most negative people ever as it pertains to Memphis basketball, at least this past season and this past off season. And now we're the positive ones. But shooting, man. Shooting, that's the thing I have to point out. 37% 2 years ago for Jerry Ding, 37% 2 years ago for Brandon Cummings. 48% for Rahard's Vavers 2 years ago, 42% last year at Washington State. You want to know why that's important? Because 2 years ago, they were one of the best three-point shooting teams in the entire country, and they were 5 seed in the NCAA tournament. Last year, they were one of the worst teams in the country. They shot 31% from three, guys, as a team. That's pitiful. And it seems like Penny, I would like to see more defensive guys. I'd like to see bigs, even though they come at a premium from a money perspective. But I like the idea of, okay, we got to attack this shooting problem that killed last year.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about, you kind of alluded to it, but let's talk about some of the negativity, some of the crash outs, as you mentioned. Like you said, usually we're, at least this past year, we've been cited pretty heavily for our negative takes or negativity.
I call it objectivity.
Yes, I agree with that. But Memphis Twitter has kind of been freaking out about the additions so far, which really is kind of mind-blowing to me, especially compared to what last year's class brought. Why is this happening? Because I'm looking at it from – I'm not looking at the names. I'm not looking at the stars. I'm looking strictly at film, statistics, and just using my knowledge of Penny and this basketball program and how they work. And when I look at it, I go, just like we talked about last week, I see defined roles. I see guys that can complement each other. I see guys that can play on the floor together and not clash. And you don't have to worry about who's going to have the ball in their hands. Like, you have very clear, hey, you're going to do this. You're going to do this. It's what you're good at, and it complements the other player. Talked about it earlier with Brandon Cummings and Vavers. Like, you think about Brandon Cummings being a 3-level scorer, a slasher, playmaker around the rim, and then somebody who can catch the ball and shoot it from 3 at a 40% clip. Like, those things go hand in hand. Those things, when you add them together, they make sense. That is cohesive. And even with some of the other targets that we're seeing, some of the names that we're seeing, I see that cohesion there. So why is this happening?
Jaden Reed on campus right now from Northwestern, 5 assists to 1, 5 assists, 3 to 1 assist to turnover guy.
Right.
I think he was 5th in the Big Ten last year in assists per game. So like, I would just to wrap up your thoughts in general, I would use one word: intentionality. They're being intentional about who they're going to get and how they're going to fit and what it's going to look like. And that gives me a lot of optimism, because I think in their best years, they had that.
Yeah.
You look at the Kendrick Davis year, and some of the role players they had around Kendrick and DeAndre. Like, you knew you had your two guys, so let's go surround them. Keontae Kennedy was a nice 3-point floor stretch guy who played some good defense. I go back to 2 years ago, PJ Carter played that same role off the bench for that set of circumstances with those guys. Like, I saw more intentionality with the role players, and I'm seeing that already forming right now. But if we're getting down to the crux of what has happened in the past week, I see a lot of people going after Ed Scott. I see a lot of people sort of ruining the idea of maybe a lack of NIL money and getting passed up by certain other mid-major schools. But at the same time, we're not going to sit here and act like Memphis is broke and they're not spending on basketball, because I'm telling you that right now, that is wholeheartedly untrue. They still have plenty of money. They're still at or near the top of the conference, at or near the top of the mid-major ranks with how they're spending. But I think people are just so used to, hey, we've had 2 number 1 recruiting classes before. Right. Penny had a number 1 recruiting class. Oh, remember this 5-star? Oh, out of the transfer portal. Look at this big name that they landed in the first couple of years of the NIL era. I think people need to start understanding that the position that Memphis is in, monetarily, fiscally, you're not going to be able to bring in big names like that. Like, you need to change your landmark for how this looks. Instead of talking about top 25 recruits in high school, let's talk about top 100. Instead of talking about top 25 recruits in the transfer portal, let's talk top 75 to top 150. Yeah. That's what you start to have to get your mind ready for, because, guys, like, it's a different era. And it's not that Memphis, I guess the word I would use is can't keep up. It's not fiscally responsible to even try to keep up. You have to fund football still. So there's going to be some money out of the hands of revenue sharing and NIL. You have to be responsible, and going and getting number one players out of the transfer portal, trying to, like Louisville just spent on Flory Badunga and Jackson Shellstad $10 million. Memphis can't do that shit, man. That can't happen. Even if they were, strapped with cash, that ain't working like that. So I just think people need to have a bit of a look in the mirror moment about, and I know it's unfortunate because you get to the national championship in 2008 and you have all these Sweet 16 runs and you're bringing in number one recruiting classes. It's hard to go back and take a step backwards in your mind, but that's the way of the world, and it's unfortunate, man. It really is.
Dude, that shit was almost 20 years ago, man.
I know. I agree with you, and I've already here on this show we have adjusted. So, like, I'm not speaking to either of you guys, right? Like, but what I'm saying is, I feel like there's a faction of the fan base that just can't get that out of their mind. Yeah. You feel like you should still be getting top 10 recruits. You should still be getting top 10 recruits out of the transfer portal. That's not the way of the world. And you can hate that fact, but you have to accept that fact.
Yeah. And again, it's like what Christian was saying a few minutes ago. It's not even necessarily just about getting the biggest names with the biggest price tags and having the most amount of money. It's recruiting guys that can play a role, that can thrive within the system that Penny Hardaway has. Like, listen, just because a guy doesn't have a $4 million price tag doesn't mean he's not a fantastic basketball player. And I think that's what you're seeing with some of these guys that Memphis is bringing in right now on visits. Now, the real where the rubber meets the road is, can you take a kid from being a visitor to being a commitment? Like that, that's what you need to figure out. But I'm telling you, these guys that Penny has had on campus yesterday, today, and that he's having come in the future are guys that I look at and say, this can be actually a pretty good team if they can get them all in.
Yeah, let's talk about some of those guys. Gabe mentioned Jaden Reed earlier from Northwestern.
Man,
there's been some of the conversation about Brandon Cummings. Is he a 1? Is he 2? I think when you watch him, you understand. Okay, that's not a true 1. Jaden Reed is a true 1. 5 assists per game last year. I think he was hovering around 4 assists per game his last year at South Florida before he transferred to Northwestern. You watch the way that he runs the floor, commands the offense. Really, really like that potential pick up in Jaden Reed. Tyleek Weeks, who I think's already been on a visit, right, Kenny?
Yesterday.
Yeah. Averaged 19 points, 5 rebounds, nearly 3 assists, 6'7", 225. I watched some of his tape earlier. Great shot creator, great around the rim. Like, mainly, he's not I don't think he's a huge 3-point guy. Yeah, I mean, he shot 22% from 3 last year, so he's not a 3-point shooter. But you've already got some of those guys, as we talked about earlier. This is someone who could potentially compete with Brandon Cummings for being your number 1 scorer. Like, he's athletic around the rim. He's great at creating that mid-range shot. He's long. He's athletic. Like, watching his film, I really liked him. I think he could be a fun player. And I think Cornelius Williams is also
that's your guy.
As a big. And I got to be honest, man, I watched a little bit of him.
That's the guy
I saw a lot of people looking at who Memphis would be competing against, and they saw BC, UAB, James Madison. I watched some of this guy. I'm like, this is a productive player.
Yeah.
13 and 10 basically a game.
Yeah.
He's one of the top offensive rebounders per percentage in the entire country last year. Like, he gets you second chance opportunities. It seems like he's willing to fit into a role, which I think you're very, very you're in need of. Obviously, he's not super exciting, but it just seems like that's a pretty useful player. And I feel I saw a lot of reaction to North Alabama big Cornelius Williams. And it's like, stop looking at that shit and focus on who he is as a player. Right. Like, you were never going to get Flory Badunga. I'm sorry to say, you were never going to go get these guys.
Are you sure?
Focus on what you can get and realize that guys like this is what can help you find success, man.
Yeah, and he's been a heck of a rebounder. I mean, the last 2 seasons, averaging over 9 rebounds. He was top 25 in the country in rebounds last year. Like,
hell yeah.
He's legit. He's legit. So you even, like, okay, this is kind of my last talking point on this, and then y'all can say whatever, we can move on. But it's like when let's just take these three guys and let's hypothetical world quickly go through this. If they landed those three guys, you got Tyleik Weeks, you got Jaden Reed, and Cornelius Williams. I think you've got a big who can help you around the basket and who can rebound the basketball. I think you've got a true point guard who can facilitate the offense and really run things. And then I think you got someone in Tyleik Weeks who could potentially be your number one scorer.
Yeah.
Do we see how all these things work and fit together? Like,
yes, they're like different things that like make sense in a
complement each other. Yeah.
Like last year, did we ever get to have this? Actually, it's like foreign to me because we never got to have this type of conversation.
Not at all.
Yeah, I think a common conversation we had last year is who's going to be the lead scorer on this team? Is it Sincere Parker? Is it Doug?
We asked that question nonstop. Who's going to? Here was the conversation was last year. It's clear Sincere Parker is being tabbed to be the guy, but he's never been the guy.
Yes,
he's never started. He never plays more than 20 minutes a game.
Right.
What's going on with Sincere? You can extrapolate the numbers out and say, well, the efficiency ratings based on 20 minutes. What does that look like for 32 minutes a game? But that was the conversation around Sincere. It was never clearly he's your guy, right? It was never that.
But Christian, I'm glad you put it that way and assigned all these guys exactly what I would assign to them, because when you actually put it in those types of, you put them in these pods to explain to people, hey, this is what they're seeing, I think it does help a lot.
Yeah.
And we never got to do that last year, ever.
No, there was
and
never.
Even with like the bigs too.
Oh,
it's
definitely
like,
not.
Aaron Bradshaw, we were just like, I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what this guy is.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I think we do kind of have to discuss that a little bit.
Yeah.
Aaron Bradshaw entered his name into the transfer portal. And I said this on my show, but don't let the door hit you on the way out, brother. I don't give a damn. I'm sorry. I know we have some listeners and some watchers here that did want to see Aaron Bradshaw back on this team, but I can't bring myself to give a damn.
No.
Like the role needed to be smaller, the money needed to be smaller. I think you can get two players that may be more productive than him in their year at Memphis for the same amount of money you were spending on him last year. So I know people have their feelings, okay? And I know people realize he was a 5-star McDonald's All-American 4 years ago, but he wasn't that when he got here. So I think I put this when I talked about it on my show, I put the clip out and I said, former top 10 recruits are only fun if they play like former top 10 recruits, and Bradshaw did not. And I just wanted to throw that in there.
I was thinking the same thing when I saw it. It was just like, and we talked about it, I think a couple of times where it was like, do you want him? Who else that's left do you want to come back? Like, or do you want these guys? I just did not see a way of it working with Aaron Bradshaw coming back. I don't know how you lessen his role. I don't know how you lessen his paycheck. I don't know how someone that was having issues showing up to meetings and showing up to practice.
Oh, well, he was the big amount of money voice by the end of the year,
right?
Christian.
But
remember that.
But with the amount of money that he was making, and still you weren't getting him fully engaged, at least at the beginning of the season. If you try to lessen his workload and lessen his pay, then I did not see a positive avenue for that to turn out. So it's nothing against him. It's just like I said it as soon as the transfer portal opened, as soon as the season ended, like, dude, wash as much of the stink of this season as you can. Get it all out. So
what made me laugh though is the talking point of, well, he was one of the leading locker room voices. By the end of the year, once he had learned his lesson, after Penny had, brought him along. That locker room, do I have to remind you they went 13-19? That locker room was shitty booty anyway, man. Like, we're not going to give somebody credit for being the lead locker room voice on a team that went 6 under 500. I don't care about that talking point at all.
Could not agree more.
My thought process at the end of the year was I want one of the bigs back. And my choice was Simon Majock, even though I thought he was looked like a freaking baby deer most of the time out there, like barely learning. I said it multiple times. I think there's a reason why there were multiple quad injuries throughout the season, because damn Simon Majock was setting picks and didn't know how to use his legs, right? But I thought if you give him a chance, he's 7'1". If you give him a chance, stay in Memphis, eat some wings, get some workouts, some protein shakes, all that kind of stuff at the University of Memphis, then maybe you can put some weight on him and get some training with Penny Hardaway. He was the guy that I wanted to keep if they were going to keep somebody. When he left and immediately, which, by the way, at some point we are going to have a conversation about NIL and agents that these players have, because how does a guy come out and say, I wanted to stay at Memphis, but my agent told me to leave?
Right.
That is crazy to me. It's crazy. But he left. And I said, you know what, man? Like, obviously Aaron had his issues, but he's also 7'1". Like, I want a 7-footer on this team.
But do you?
Would
you trade him out for Cornelius
I'm
Williams?
just not that 7-footer, man.
Yeah. I just want a 7-footer on this team. I wanted Simon Majock. I would have settled for Aaron Bradshaw. But the fact that he's gone.
Bradshaw plays like he's about 6'6", dude.
The fact that he's gone, I lost zero sleep over Aaron Bradshaw leaving.
Okay.
So.
All right. Okay. There we get to
As Francis Carlotta says, the future NBA Hall of Famer Simon Majock.
You know what I can't get out of my mind is that exhibition game where he did the full transition behind the back and finished at the other end, coast to coast.
Yeah.
The future NBA Hall of Famer.
Francis Carlotta is the president of the Simon Majock.
Well, I mean, he's got stock, clearly. I mean,
clearly.
He bought up all that stock on
a lot of it. All right, boys. Well, we got a hot 3 to get to that I know Kenny's probably not that excited about, but me and Gabe. Oh, you are? Okay. Kenny's fired up too. So we have an all NFL draft hot 3. So if you are not a football fan, if you're not a draft fan, you're probably not going to enjoy this, but this is one of the nerdiest times of year for me and Gabe. Like, when you listen to us, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, you nerds, no one's even paying you to know or talk about the NFL draft. Well, we don't care. We do it for the love of the game. So, quick break. Be back on the other side with the NFL draft and the hot 3.
Tired of the same old fast food? The soggy fries, the frozen flavors, the meals that never quite hit right. Head over to Waldo's Chicken and Beer, where everything starts fresh and flavor comes first. Our chicken is fried in rich beef tallow for that bold, old-school crunch you can actually taste. And don't skip the premium homemade southern sides. Fresh greens, hearty white beans, and creamy mac and cheese made to complete the meal. Bring your whole family. There's plenty of space to relax, plus a game room the kids will love. Catch the game on big screens, grab a drink at the full bar, and enjoy happy hour specials every day from 3 to 6, all day on Tuesday and Sunday. Waldo's Chicken and Beer. Real food, real flavor, made from scratch. And that's Earth.
That's the coolest freaking thing I've ever seen in my life.
Are you kidding me?
Oh, are you kidding me? Golly.
Wow. How in the hell are these astronauts not the biggest celebrities in the entire world?
They should be.
Justin Bieber can sing his ass off. Coachella was great. Like, that was awesome. But how in the hell is Reed Wiseman and the pilot from this Artemis 2? Like, how are they not like known and like the most famous people in the world?
We idolize the wrong things. People who make accomplishments like this that further our species, that further our known knowledge, who are pushing the far limits of science, absolutely should be rock stars. Ninja DJs, right? They used to be like those old Apollo crews and stuff were rock stars back in the day.
Yep.
But we're truly missing an opportunity to celebrate what is one of the coolest accomplishments of generations, and nobody's talking about it. They went 250,000 miles from Earth. Sorry, flat earthers and all you people out there who think it was fake and staged. It weren't.
Tune into the Two Buck Sports Show with Rusty Witten and Drew Gann, Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Speaking of which, we finally, only a month after the alleged due date, got an answer today from Aaron Brad. You misspelled that. Should be an L, not an H. Aaron Bradslaw.
Oh, my bad.
Has entered the portal.
So rude.
Thankfully.
I think we all got our wish. Aaron's out of here.
No, not me.
No,
Kenny wanted him back.
Kenny.
I wanted Simon Majock back. He's no longer back.
Which
I
is,
want a
again,
big.
shocking because
I
you
want a
hated
big.
Simon. We'll get a big.
Are there any more bigs?
As it relates to the United States prospects, yes. But as we've seen, the staff is not afraid to add from overseas.
Okay.
There's a 7-footer over there somewhere that is serviceable.
I'm going to pull a Brad Underwood and just stash a whole roster of European dudes.
Tune in to Tigers Untapped with your hosts, Trey Lasley and TJ Willis, every Tuesday at 3 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel. Some dreams don't just come true, they come with 4 paws. At Puppy Dreams, we match loving families with happy, healthy puppies. From playful companions to lifelong best friends, your perfect match is waiting. And with our professional grooming spa, your pup will look as amazing as they feel. Visit Puppy Dreams today and meet the one who's been waiting just for you. All right, boys, we are back with the Hot 3. And like you said, the biggest nerd out Hot 3 we've ever had on the Bluff. The NFL Draft is in 2 days, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. And folks, listen, you may think it's a nerd session, but you're going to get a lot of knowledge.
I
I'll tell
agree.
you that right the hell now. You're about to get some real knowledge dropped on you.
Listen, I'm excited. All right, so listen, there's one big question we always have to ask. Everybody knows, like, what's the top, the number one pick, unless your name is, what's your boy's name over there? Ran out the back of the end zone, the quarterback, the ESPN guy.
Orlovsky?
Yeah, unless you're Dan Orlovsky. Everybody knows who the number 1 pick is going to be. Probably know who the number 2 pick is going to be. 3 pick, maybe 4 pick. How many picks do you think they go to that everybody already kind of knows where they're going to be? My question to y'all is, when does the draft really start for y'all?
Okay, I'll take this one first, and then Christian, I think, has a slightly differing opinion than me. I think, 1, obviously, Fernando Mendoza, we know that. 2, I think you have either Arvell Reese or David Bailey. Arvell Reese, the hybrid off-ball linebacker or edge out of Ohio State, and then David Bailey, of course, is the edge out of Texas Tech who had double-digit sacks the last 2 years. So one of those guys goes at number 2, depending on what new Jets GM Darren Muji wants to ultimately do, how much power he wants to give to Aaron Glenn, who was awful, absolutely pitiful as a coach in year 1. I also don't want Arvell Reese to go there because Aaron Glenn is not going to know how to use him, but that's a different story for a different day. But one of those guys is going to go number 2. And then I think one of those guys is going to go number 3 to the Cardinals, unless they trade out of that pick. And this is the smoke screen time of year. You've been reading all these reports about how the Cardinals are interested in at number 3. If they stay on that pick, they'll go get running back out of Notre Dame, Jeremiah Love. My bullshit-o-meter could not be going off any harder with that type of reporting. That the Cardinals have Michael Wilson, Marvin Harrison Jr., the best pass-catching tight end in the league, and Trey McBride. And they have Jacoby Brissett at quarterback. They have passable running backs as is right now. What use do they have for Jeremiah Love right now when the rest of their team is dog ass. I mean, it's awful. So they have to go get somebody else. You can get a good talent there. I think one of the Arvell Reese or David Bailey pick is probably what they're going to do, even though they're trying to probably move down and collect more picks, more bites at the apple. That's why I think they're doing the Jeremiah Love thing, because Jeremiah Love services are wanted by a lot of people in the top 10, and they want somebody to be dumb enough to trade up with them because of the smoke screen. But that's my opinion. I think it starts at 4 with Tennessee Titans. And is that Jeremiah Love? Is that Sonny Styles? Could they swing for Caleb Downs? Could they go O-line? I have no idea what they're going to go and do there. But I think the Tennessee Titans at number 4 is where you need to start really thinking about, okay, after this pick, it's going to change sort of the rest of the order of the NFL draft. You have to sort of pay attention who's picked there to decide what the needs are like after that. Shout out Myers, by the way.
Shout out Myers.
I don't fully disagree, but I do think there is some intrigue at 3 with Arizona. We know number 1's locked in, and I agree with you. I think 2 is a 50-50 shot between Bailey and Reese. It's whoever the Jets like better. But at 3, I do think the Jeremiah Love stuff has to be smokescreen. If they take Jeremiah Love at 3, it's crazy. Now, is his bust rate a lot lower than most of the guys they could consider there? Yeah, probably. He's a running back, and running backs, first-round running backs hardly ever miss.
Unless you're Trent Richardson.
Unless you're Trent Richardson. Then there's a conversation. But for the sake of this argument, let's say Fernando Mendoza, David Bailey, 1 and 2. What if Arizona's not in love with the idea of Arvell Reese? Let's not forget Isaiah Simmons was also an Arizona Cardinal at one point in time, and not the same player.
Okay.
Not the same player, but Isaiah Simmons was one of those players where you went, this guy's awesome. He can play linebacker, he can play safety, he can play corner, he can line up at defensive end if you want him to. Never could quite pigeonhole him into a true role to make him a standout player. So if they get scared off by Arvell Reese and say, we don't know how good of an off-ball linebacker he's going to be. We don't know how good of an edge rusher he's going to be. Like, we have to go somewhere safer. Maybe they go Francis Maui-Noah. Maybe they go Spencer Fano. Maybe they like another one of these defensive players better. Maybe they want a Sonny Styles. I don't know. Or maybe they just truly want to trade out of this pick, whatever it takes. So I think there is some intrigue there. But if we say they stay and pick, then 4 things get interesting, because I agree with you. Tennessee, there's been a lot of smoke with Jeremiah Love. There's been conversation about Sonny Styles. I wouldn't hate – I know it sounds crazy taking a safety at 4. I would not blink an eye if they drafted Caleb Downs at number 4 overall. So I think there is some more conversation to be had about 4 with the Titans. But 3 is when I'm going to start peeking up and saying, okay, what's going to happen now? Are they going to sit and pick, or are they going to find a willing trade partner to come up at 3? I don't think anyone's going to trade up to 3. Doesn't make sense to me in a draft without heavy in quarterback talent, but we'll see. That's what they do it for, right?
Yeah. I think any pick from 3 to 9 is up for grabs.
Agreed.
Like any singular pick, if you want to go up and get your guy, I think those teams are going to be willing to listen, which is going to be really interesting to watch.
Yeah, because from everything, like Cleveland apparently desperately wants to trade down. Arizona desperately wants to trade down. Like, there are some teams that do not want to pick where they are because they just don't feel like this draft has the high-end talent. So they'd rather move down and accumulate picks. So I'm with you. I've heard up to as many as like 8 projected trades in this first round. So I think there could be a lot of – and usually these go one of 2 ways, right? Either they nail it and there's a ton of movement, or no one wants to trade and it just becomes like a pretty stale, stagnant first round. So we'll see.
Yeah, that is the thing. Whenever they start projecting a bunch of trades, you start to think the opposite. But this draft makes so much sense because there's so many shitty teams up there in the top 10 that with these non-value great prospects, like good teams could use them way more than they could use them now.
There's an even deeper layer to that though, right? I can't recall a year where so many teams had multiple first-round picks.
Right.
Because you think about it, Dallas has 2, the Jets have 2, the Chiefs have 2, the Giants have 2, the Dolphins have 2. Like, there are And there might be more. There might be one or two more, but that's a lot of teams. I mean, that's a lot of teams that dominate the first round, and typically you have maybe one or two teams that have multiple first round picks. It's not usually 5, 6, 7 teams with multiple first round picks, and that changes things as well.
Kenny, what we got next?
Sounds good. Let me ask you this: is this a deep draft? Like, is this where do y'all rank this draft in terms of like talent?
It depends what position group you're talking about too, right?
Yeah.
Because I think wide receiver, for example, is considered the deepest position group. I don't think they have the top end talent though that they usually have, but I think the depth pieces you could have in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round even could really make a difference on any given team. I think offensive line is like that as well. Edge probably more top end than depth.
I don't know. You got a lot of these guys.
You got some dudes that like a guy like Gabe Jacobs.
Yeah.
From Illinois. He's going to be around there.
Malachi Lawrence.
Day 2. Yeah, Malachi Lawrence. I think he may go first round.
He might.
That's my hot take.
I agree.
I don't even know if that's really hot at this moment. I think he'll go first round. I think Colton Hood might sneak into the first round from Tennessee. Yeah. And I think and he'll be on my list later, so I'm not going to ruin it. But the Arizona State tackle, we'll talk about it a little bit.
Maxi Anachor.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so you guys, Gabe, you mentioned a few minutes ago that you think picks 3 through 9 could be up for grabs. You just don't know where everybody's going to go. It's funny that you stopped at 9 because the 10th draft pick got traded this week with Dexter Lawrence being traded from the New York Giants to the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals gave away their 10th draft pick to the Giants for the defensive tackle, the standout defensive tackle that Dexter Lawrence is. How does this trade impact the NFL draft coming up? And who do y'all think won that trade? Who won that trade?
Christian, I thought you laid this out so well earlier on the show from the Bengals side.
Yeah.
Because your point, I think, is one that has not been discussed at all about the number 10 pick in particular.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the instant reaction was the Giants fleeced the Bengals. Right. Like, they got 2 top 10 picks now. They traded away a guy that they're paying $28 million a year. I understand those things. But from the flip side of the coin, Cincinnati's defense has been terrible the last several seasons. Like, it's been a dumpster fire. Odds are, at 10, they're not going to land an all-pro caliber difference maker of a player. Now, the conversation comes in, Mike Brown's an extremely cheap owner. That's very well documented. Yeah. So for him to trade the number 10 overall pick, which is probably worth somewhere between 6 to 12 million, something like that per year that you're going to pay a young player versus paying a 28-year-old, 29-year-old defensive tackle $28 million a year is a big difference. And it's nuts that out of all the owners that could have made this trade, it's the cheapest of them all. But when I think about it, Cincinnati's 2 biggest needs, interior defensive lineman, corner. You think about this draft and the way that it lays out, the corner talent in this draft is not the top-heavy corner talent in this draft is not extremely high. Mansour Delane is pretty much the consensus number 1 corner out of LSU. When you look at most mock drafts, he's going before 10. He's going somewhere in the top 10. Sometimes he makes it to Cincinnati, but you're rolling the dice if you're the Bengals there. A lot of people would combat that with, well, Jermod McCoy is typically mocked in the top 15 as well coming out of Tennessee. If you've listened, there are a lot of teams that have completely removed Jermod McCoy from their board due to the knee injury. 2024 tape, best in the country.
He was CB1 at that point.
Yeah, if this was Jermod McCoy 2024 versus Mansour Delane 2025 tape, Jermod McCoy's tape is better. But he didn't play all season last year, missed the entirety of the year, did not participate in the combine. I know he worked out at his pro day, and according to everything there, like his numbers were good, his 40 was good, all of his athletic measurables were good. But how much are you willing to risk that with a top 10 pick? So let's say Mansour Delane's gone. Let's say Cincinnati has Jermod McCoy off their board, so they can't take a corner. there are no interior defensive linemen worth taking in the top probably 20.
You got Caden McDonald late first, maybe.
Caden McDonald's a late first round pick out of Ohio State. That's the only interior defensive lineman that will likely go in the first round. So for them, when they look at it and go, our two biggest needs, interior D-line, corner. Interior D-line's not going to be there regardless of what happens in front of them. And if they've got McCoy off the board and Delane's gone, then they have no corners left. They would have to reach on Colton Hood. They'd have to reach on Chris Johnson from San Diego State. Like, they don't have a clear-cut guy to take there at 10 to fill that corner void opposite of DJ Turner. So to me, it makes all the sense in the world for them. And then you think even deeper into it, they drafted Shamar Stewart in the first round last year out of Texas A&M. It didn't go great. A lot of that was Cincinnati's fault with the contract dispute. But now you have a consummate pro in Dexter Lawrence who's been just – I mean, you haven't heard anything negative about Dexter Lawrence since he's gotten drafted. He's just been productive and stayed out of headlines for negative reasons. So can he bring someone like Shamar Stewart along with him? And then you're adding another guy. You're adding another guy in Shamar Stewart that didn't really impact the games last year, missed the offseason training, and now you've got a consummate pro to kind of walk that out with him. So I love the trade from the Bengals' perspective. They were not going to get an all-pro talent at number 10 more than likely, especially one at a position of major need. So you can say the Giants fleeced the Bengals all you want. I don't.
In other words, like the point I just really that really resonates with me is the 10th pick does not mean as much to the Bengals as Dexter Lawrence is going to mean for the Bengals going into the next 2 years. And I don't think there's any world where the 10th pick that they even would have made is ever going to be on that level. Now you're paying a premium, you're paying more money for Dexter Lawrence, but brother, you're talking about a win now window. With Joe Burrow and Jamar and T. Higgins, you gotta sign premier defensive pieces. It's something we've been shitting on them for. They do it, and it feels like everybody just wants to pile on. And it's like, well, they did what we've been telling them to do for the past 3 years. Yeah. And now you're angry. I don't really understand. Now I will say, Dexter Lawrence would have hit a lot different if Trey Hendrickson was rushing the pass.
Okay. That's my question. Why make the trade for the 10th? Why give up the 10th pick in this draft when you had the opportunity to sign Trey Hendrickson? Why did they not sign him? Why did they go get what? Is it literally because Dexter's
31-year-old? Is it 31-year-old straight pass rush? When we talk Trey Hendrickson, you can look at the stats and you can say 17.5 sacks over 2 years. And I think they should have brought him back. He was so unbelievably productive. They should have given him the contract. But, like, if we're being honest about Trey Hendrickson, he's not setting edges. He's not playing the run at all. And one of their biggest, Achilles heels these past couple of years is they can't stop anybody in between the tackles.
Yeah.
And they never had a presence there. And Trey Hendrickson is a good player. This is not me hating. He's a one-trick pony, though, man.
He's not a run stopper.
He cannot stop the run. He's bad. It's not just that he's like, average, blends in. No, he's bad. He can't set an edge if his life depends on it, man. Yeah. That's why, like, when we talked about Max Crosby versus him, it's like Max Crosby, I don't care what the medicals say. That's a substantially better player. He can rush a passer the same way, and he plays the run like a demon.
Yeah,
but Dexter Lawrence is the same way. And Dexter Lawrence, you can look at his stats all you want, but what'd you tell me today, Christian? He had a 72.5% double team rate last year. Like that's how much he changes the game. You cannot one-on-one block this guy, and it frees up other people to have one-on-ones, and that's why you bring up Shamar Stewart.
Yeah.
Right? Shamar Stewart's going to be schemed into one-on-ones a whole lot more. What can he do with them now that he has Dexter Lawrence?
And Jonathan Allen, who they brought in free agency from the Vikings, and Boye Mafe, who they brought in from Seattle, and BJ Hill, who's still in that defensive tackle rotation. Like, if Miles Murphy or Shamar Stewart can make a difference at one of those defensive end spots, that defensive line is really good. Like, I mean, with Allen and Dexter Lawrence in the middle, that could be something.
Let's be honest, Christian. They just need passable on the defensive side of the ball, brother.
Yeah, they just need top, like,
they need top half.
Yeah, not even top
their
half.
Offense is gonna score, brother. Except for the first 2 weeks of the season. They won't score in the first 2 weeks of the season. But after that, they'll be one of the best offenses in the league because that's just what they are.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Now, real quick, Giants, 5 and 10. You know what I like? This would be my draft plan if I was Joe Shane. Let me go get Caleb Downs, my surefire prospect at number 5. After that, at 10, I either think if somebody just fell into your lap and, or if you took Sonny Styles at 5 and Caleb Downs fell into your lap at 10, oh my God. Like,
I love that
hell
so much.
yeah. Hell yeah, brother. I mean, I'm
that.
taking that any day of the week. But you pose the idea of like a Caleb Downs or a Sonny Styles at 5, then a Carnell Tate at wide receiver to sort of give Jackson Dart a little bit more. I also thought about this. If you're getting the sure thing at 5, take an upside swing at 10. Screw it, at O-line or something. Like, just take an upside swing, see what you can do. And I hate to put it out there like this. I don't know if he's necessarily worth the top 10 pick, or if he's gonna be that guy immediately upon stepping into the league, but you could develop him into that, and the Giants seem to have a couple of years. I would not mind if you're going upside taking Caden Proctor at 10.
Yeah.
As an offensive lineman. But I can understand where Giants fans would be like, well, we just got out of the Evan Neal business for the most part.
Right.
And we're going to go to the fat, out of shape offensive lineman from Alabama. The only difference I'd tell you is Caden Proctor is like, I don't know, 3 times the athlete that Evan Neal ever was.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
No, I said it earlier on the show. Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs is like,
oh God! I mean,
imagine this defense, right?
That
like
makes me feel substantially different about the Giants next season.
Yeah. The only thing that makes me question the Sonny Styles thing is they went out and got Tremaine Edmonds. So I get that, and they also, they've got Javon Holland, they got Tyler Nubin, who they drafted a couple years ago. But let's just, for the fun of it, say that they did, and their defense. These are just some of the players they would have on their defense. Roy Robertson Harris, who I'm a big fan of. I think he's been underrated for quite a while. Brian Burns, Abdul Carter, who I'm very excited to see what he does in year 2, because the
Just
way
go
that
to meetings on time. Make it.
The way that he closed out year 1 was impressive. Tremaine Edmonds, Paulson Adebo, who they got from the Saints, Javon Holland, Greg Newsome. Like, that could be a really good freaking defense. Yeah, and you had Sonny Styles and Caleb Downs.
I guess if Jeremiah Love fell to you, you wouldn't feel horrible about that.
But you drafted Cam Scatterbo last year.
Well, he broke his leg and let's not. Oh God.
To me,
am I gonna have to shit on Cam Scatterbo for no reason?
Shit on Scam Cabadoo.
Scam Cabadoo.
For me, with the Giants, it's offensive line.
Bro, he's not a guy you're trusting to be your starter.
No, I agree. I don't think he's like a long-term one.
He's a crash test dummy, man.
Yes.
That's what he is.
For me, with the Giants, it's offensive line and receiver are the two that really jump out. And then, like I said, you can look and say, I don't love their defensive tackles, but once again, it's a weak D tackle class. Linebackers, I don't love Micah McFadden as a starting linebacker. I don't love Tyler Nubin as a starting safety, Greg Newsome. Like, they've got different positions that they can fill, but I look at those 4 things, right? Carnell Tate, Caleb Downs, Sonny Styles, or whoever's left over of the offensive line group.
If you got like both of those guys, Sonny and Caleb, start Tyrone Tracy. I don't give a shit. I don't care who your running back is. I love what you did.
Yeah, I agree.
Or just go get a running back later in the draft. See what you get. Mike Washington, whoever the fuck it is.
Yeah. All right, Kenny.
We'll get to the last topic, but I'm mad at y'all now, and I'll tell you why. Because you know me, I'm an NBA guy, and I sent a hot 3 topic talking about how great Victor Wembanyama is. How good can Victor Wembanyama be? And both of y'all said, nah, let's talk about the NFL draft instead. Well, Victor Wembanyama's out with a concussion now, so shout out to y'all. That's your fault. I blame you.
We can talk about Victor Wembanyama anytime. We can only talk about the draft 1 week out of the year.
It's true. Good point. All right. Still y'all's fault. Let's go. We're either going to do favorite players or we're going to do impact players here. And I don't want y'all to pick the guys. Like, you've mentioned a ton of guys so far.
Yeah, we're not going to go Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs, Fernando Mendoza.
Let's not talk those guys. Let's talk maybe your 10 to 15, 10 to 20, whatever that range of guys. Your favorite players and guys that you think are going to make the biggest impact as rookies this season for their team, wherever they're drafted.
You want to go back and forth, Christian?
Let's do 3. We've been going 59 minutes. Let's do 3.
All right. Can I start this one?
Yeah, go ahead.
For me, this one's easy. I love this player. I think this is one where we talk
You're
about it
taking
all
the
the
number
time,
one guy off my list.
and we
I'm gonna
go,
tell you.
why are they overthinking it? Why are they overthinking this? Why is this guy going outside of the top 10, top 15? Akeem Messidor. I love Akeem Messidor.
Okay.
I think he is a high motor, doesn't give up. I get it. He's 25 years old. I get it. He had some injury problems earlier in his career. But, like, when I watch his tape, I go, that dude affects the game just as much as Ruben Bain affected the game at Miami. Like, I love the motor. I love the production. Like, if I turn on Akeem Messidor's tape, I don't poke holes in it. I don't sit there and go, he's going to be deficient in this area. He's going to be weak in this area. He's going to cost you in this area. The only reason to me he's not a top 10 pick is injury history and being 25 years of age. And to me, like, I get it. You can only take so many risks, but there's players that are so much less of a sure thing that are going higher than him at a premium position, by the way. This isn't a safety. This isn't a running back. This is an edge. This is a defensive end, one of the premium positions in the league. And he's steadily being mocked 15 to 23. And I don't see it. I see a top 10 caliber player in this specific draft.
Yeah, y'all know how much I love Sonny Styles, right? And one of the reasons I love Sonny Styles is, his ability to understand the game, his IQ, plus his athleticism. That's what makes him jump out as a off-ball linebacker to me. And all the different things he could potentially do at 6'5", 244. But if I'm talking about a guy who has the instincts to be a immediate sort of Pro Bowl, all-pro caliber linebacker, I'm going C.J. Allen from Georgia, brother.
Oh,
That's who I really. You thought I was going to go Jacob Rodriguez or something?
I did, because I don't
like
C.J.
Allen, man.
I
think C.J. Allen. I think C.J. Allen's got some great athleticism. I like him coming out of Georgia. How he was taught by Kirby Smart. He's an absolute dog. I think he can get sideline to sideline. I think he's when we talk about instincts and IQ, he definitely has that. I think Jacob Rodriguez is probably the best, but I do like C.J. Allen and what he was able to do the last 2 years at Georgia just a little bit more. I think it should be right there outside of the first round. Jacob Rodriguez may sneak into the first, though, and I wouldn't blame anybody for that because of he's a walking instinctual player. Like, he is. If you ask me who the most instinctual player at their particular position, it would be Jacob Rodriguez.
Yeah,
but C.J. Allen, I think, is a close second in that linebacker conversation.
I don't hate C.J. Allen. I just think he's a one-trick pony. I think he's a downhill thumper, and I think he's going to struggle in coverage early. Not to say that he can't figure that out, but I think he's kind of an old-school throwback linebacker. I'm going to go to the national championship team for this one. This is another one where I turn on the tape, and I just love this player. I love watching him. No, he's not a first round. He's not going to sneak into the first round. Most mocks have him going in the second. But D'Angelo Pons, I love the way that he plays the game. He is in your face. He is physical. He's aggressive. He's extremely athletic. I think he tested better as far as jumping and everything, way exceeded expectations. And I look at some of these other guys, and I say, I get the allure, but have they done it at this level? And I'm not talking about the first-round guys like Delane, Jermon McCoy, Colton Hood. I think those guys are going to be successful in the NFL. But when I look at the next tier, like the Brandon Ceesays, the Chris Johnsons, those kind of guys, I say, how are they going over D'Angelo Pons? Yes, they were productive as well, but this guy –
He ran a 4.31, didn't he, at his pro day?
Yeah, and I think he had like a 40-plus inch vertical. And he did get beat a couple times by Jeremiah Smith, but he held his own against Jeremiah Smith. Not many people do that. And he didn't back down. He wasn't scared. He got in his face. He punched him in the mouth for 4 quarters. Like, I think he's one of those old school press man, get in your face corners. Now, if he goes to a team that they sit in zone coverage all the time and that's all they do, they're taking his strength away. But if he goes to a team that will let him get up on the line of scrimmage and punch dudes in the face for 4 quarters, like, he is going to be one of those guys that we look up and go, why did he go in the second round? Like, why did we overthink it? Because he's short? Because he's 5'9"? Like, no, he's got long arms. He's athletic. He has makeup speed. He's aggressive. Like, during that college football playoff run, I spent a lot of time watching him, and I went back and watched some of the tape from earlier in the season. I just go, this dude's a legit lockdown cornerback one potentially in the NFL.
What NFL team do you think his defense would suit him?
Who suits him? I know it can be a more zone heavy scheme at times, but I would like to see him in Minnesota in a Flores.
Flores. That is literally that was the first name that popped to my head.
Yeah,
because
Flores
he takes a lot of chances, and you're going to get up in man situations where you're on an island, and I think he can hold up in those situations. I do worry about his size, brother. I'm sorry.
It's valid.
These are big-bodied, outside, physical wide receivers in the National Football League, man.
No doubt about it.
Like they're Jeremiah Smiths every week.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I'd say about D'Angelo Ponds. But you ain't gonna find a hater out of me. Like I like D'Angelo Ponds. Now this is a guy who I think is gonna sneak into the first round because he's only been playing football for 3 years, guys. He came up. He's Nigerian.
Yep.
Max ain't sure. How do you say that again?
Max Iheanacho.
This guy. I watch his tape. He's an offensive lineman, offensive tackle, 6'6", about 320 out of Arizona State, 33, nearly 34-inch arms. And for a guy that's been playing ball for 3 years, of all the tackle film I watched this year, he fits into the top 5. And if you've only been playing for 3 years, that is absolutely undescribable how you get to that level in 3 years. I don't know how to truly quantify that for you.
Yeah.
But it takes most guys with just a kick step 3 years to understand how to actually use that and be functional with it. And this guy's been playing for 3 years, and he was more or less dominating. He's got some decent, the couple of things I want to see him work on is, dude, use your length to your advantage. Like when people bend the edge on him, I saw his film against David Bailey, and he actually did a decent job holding up against David Bailey. But it's like, dude, he sort of lets him get to the punch first, but that's something that comes with experience, which I think he'll get. He's a little bit more developmental, but I think you could probably sort of plug and play him year one and let him get some lumps.
But, man, does he have the frame.
He's got the frame. He's got the athleticism. Yeah. He's decent. Guys like that 3 years into their career do not have the physicality usually that he shows. He exudes when he was asked to run block at Arizona State. I started watching this film on this guy, and it's not the best looking film, but when you contextualize his film, it's like I'm telling you, 2 years into his career, he'll be a more than serviceable. I think he could be approaching Pro Bowl level tackle, whether it's right side or left side. I believe this guy's got the good feet. He's athletic. He sticks out to me.
Yeah. I've got a couple more.
My third one, I'm going. Take your long shot. I have an offensive tackle that I'm going to go he'll be late day 2, early day 3.
Okay,
give me your guy.
Go ahead, send that, and you talk about yours, and I'll
okay.
Find you.
This is my guy. We've actually had, weirdly enough, a discussion about this guy. He played in the national championship game last year, left tackle for Miami, Markel Bell. He is 6'9", 360 pounds. Now, if you watch the early part of his film last year, before Alex Mirabal, the offensive line coach, got his hands on him, it was, God, that shit looked shaky. He just his feet were all over the place, plodding, just didn't look right. I think he's sort of scheme specific, but if you get him into a system that really, puts gap schemes first, base blocking straight up, not necessarily outside zone where he's got to go reach guys. I really like his upside, man, because you can't teach 6'9", 360 pounds.
Yeah.
With just barreling down physicality on you. And his arms are 36 inches long, guys.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. And obviously out of Miami, a fair comparison, the comparison you'd bring up is a guy like Bryant McKinney, who played in the league for years, Pro Bowler, who was 6'8".
Trent Brown's
340. Yeah, Trent Brown played in the league forever. He's just one of those guys that I think people are overthinking because he's not overly athletic. How about Orlando Brown Jr.?
Another
right? These guys, you can't teach that size, man. There's so much more, room for error when you're 6'9", 360 with decent, even halfway decent athleticism. And he's got, I think for his size, he's got more than decent athleticism. I think whoever gets him can put him at right or left tackle and just hands off for the most part. Obviously, first couple of years, coach him, do what you need to do. But I feel like this is a guy who's just, because of size and the requisite athleticism, can be a starter in this league at tackle for 10 years. Like, and you're going to be able to get a value on him because he's not going to go very high.
Yeah. I had so the guys that I was thinking about when I was looking at that late first to second round or mid first to second round range, I'll just give you the names because I was excited to talk about them, but I'll kick the can down the road. Dylan Tiedemann, I'm a huge fan of him. AJ Halsey, the safety out of LSU, I'm a huge fan of him. And one of my favorite, possibly my favorite second round player, because if you watch him, you're like, dude, what is going on? Like, the dude plays with his hair on absolute fire. R. Mason Thomas out of Oklahoma. Like, that dude is a demon.
Yeah.
Like, he is a demon. So later round guys, got to Romello Height, who we
pass
talked about
rushing freakazoid.
Yeah.
That dude. But he ain't planning to run a lick. No, don't ask him to.
Romello Height and Harold Perkins.
Harold Perkins was going to be a first-round pick for some time.
Exactly. You think about Harold Perkins. He didn't have a great year this year. I think he had injuries 2 years ago, but he was like freshman of the century. Like, he was incredible his freshman year. I mean, they strapped the number 7 on his back and put the rocket ship and let him go. His freshman year, he was like he was being compared to Micah Parsons, off-ball linebacker, defensive end.
Well, didn't he wear number 40 then?
Yeah.
Yeah, he strapped the number 40 to his back.
Yeah, he's a poor man's Arvell Reese in this draft. Yeah, he doesn't have the physical profile. He's not as big as Arvell Reese, but same thing with all these guys. If you get them in the right system and someone knows how to use them and tap into that potential, like Harold Perkins has all the abilities to be a really solid NFL player. And then with Romello Height, you talk about like third down, pass rush specialist, can be one of those guys that gets you 8 to 10 sacks a year by playing 40%, 30 to 40% of the snaps. Romello Height's that dude.
Bro, he looks like a damn corner sprinting off the edge. It freaks me out. But he's not that big though, so it's like he is very much third down, special. I'm coming on the field, special package. I need you to scheme me a one-on-one and I will beat the shit out of whoever this lineman is.
Yeah.
Because no one's feet are quick enough to keep up with that dude, man. At least in college.
Like
no one in the Big 12 could keep up with that dude, man. It was so funny to watch on film.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's we ran a little long because you got me and Gabe talking draft, so that's kind of what you expect. But we appreciate everybody for joining us this week. If you are watching on YouTube, you can like, subscribe, and comment there. If you're listening via podcast, whether that's Apple, Spotify, or any other podcast platform, you can do the same there. Once again, we appreciate you guys for joining us, and we will see you back here next week.
Thank you for listening to On the Bluff. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. Head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co for comprehensive coverage of Memphis sports and how you can become an insider.